So there's, five prescriptions that I'd give people.
Cool.
One is you have to have a vision that's clear and very specific. Now, people have heard that before. It's not that it's something new and shiny object type of thing. But I'm not talking about this grand vision off into the future, but just if it's a very small change that we're trying to make, or if we're trying to break a habit, well, what does that look like specifically? What am I trying to change about myself? Or what's the new skill? Because if we take a look at growth and confidence and adventure, well, what's a skill that I can be, or what's a vision that I have about my growth that I can be growing in my business? Like, what's that look like for me? And very tangible it has to be.
I mean, I can give you an example and hope it can help illustrate this. I mean, I just did this 14-day detox with Josh.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't necessarily like I had this ultra clear vision of what it would look like, but it was a specific thing. It was like, okay, these 14 days, it was concrete. I understood there was a plan, there was a place I was going to get to, and I knew the kind of things I was going to eliminate on my path. So it made it so easy rather than this big grand vision of being like the perfect healthy person forever.
Yeah.
It was specific, it was concrete, and it gave us something to work from.
So you used a keyword. You said path.
Yes.
The path is everything. You saw the path.
Yes.
There was no guessing and uncertainty, because uncertainty is the enemy to an owl-brainer. If there's uncertainty, wow, are you going to get resistance and self-sabotage in your life then?
Right.
So just be specific and clear about what it is that you're trying to go after.
Awesome.
The second thing is to set trigger goals for yourself.
What's that mean?
So trigger goals are about the little micro changes that we need to be set up for ourselves in order to maybe accomplish the bigger goal. So a trigger goal for myself, if I'm trying to start a new exercise regimen, a trigger goal is, well, if I kind of pull the thread on that goal of going to the gym, what's one of the first actions I would even ever have to take in order to get to the gym? And it would be, 4 times this week, I'm going to get dressed up in my Lululemon gear.
Oh, Todd.
Very sassy. My Lululemon gear.
Yeah.
In my home.
Yes.
And because that's probably, just probability says that I'm more than likely going to take the next step, which is maybe walk out the door.
Yes.
So trigger goals would be, 5 times this week I'm going to get dressed up. And it's a complete opposite of what most people hear about goal setting. I want to find what is the behavioral action step that you can take. Because I know that if I can get you walking down that path, the likelihood of you getting to the gym is just that much more likely. And then the next goal on top of that would be, to open up the door 5 times this week with the mission of going to the gym. We're not even at the gym yet. And those are things that, we do when we accomplish it. There is a little dopamine dump that we get because we did achieve the thing that we set out that we were going to do.
It's almost building on like small wins. I can think about it in terms of productivity. I know for me, one of the biggest habits that I've developed that serves me so much, and I always recommend it, it's like end of day, take out my notebook, set up for the next day. Huge, simple trigger goal impacts my level of accomplishment, how I feel about myself, how rested I can be when I go to bed. Just doing that one simple, tiny action that cascades into incredible results in every part of my life.
And what's funny about that goal that you set for yourself is when I take a look at one of the hallmarks of a wow-brainer, people who do achieve quite a bit, that's one of their things that they do, is they are fantastic at planning out their tomorrow today.
I love it. It gets me high. Like I'm like, woo! I get so excited.
And think about it. It's just, for me, it's like this sense of excitement and expectancy now because I'm taking control of my day. In the way, in not control in that I'm going to force things to happen, but there's an internal power that we get from that.
Oh, absolutely. And also a sense that, we know that we can't control so much of what happens. So to go in at least with a plan of like, okay, this is what's really important for me. So no matter what else happens, I got this to go in there with. It may not always work out, but at least I'm coming in prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
So number 3 would be to set improvement goals.
Okay, what's that?
I'm not going to go on and on about there's 19 different types of goals you need to be setting, but improvement goals are really important as well. And improvement goals are all about numbers with a date attached to them.
Okay.
Because the great thing about photo albums is that we can see change in photo albums. It's like when I see myself when I'm 5, when I'm 15, I can see the visual change that's happening.
Sure.
But when people go on these, maybe when they sign up for one of your programs, if I don't set up an improvement goal for myself, then it's really hard for me to know and get feedback we want to create a feedback loop for myself of, is this improving and am I growing from this?
Yes.
So I can get more confidence, with my abilities and capabilities. So an improvement goal would be, for example, if it's working out again, I will improve the number of push-ups I can do consecutively from 5 to 15 by
X date.
X date, 6 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, whatever it is. Or, if it's someone is in a sales type role, I will improve the number of successful calls that I make to prospects from 3 per day to 6 per day by date.
Yes.
Because then I can put that on a plot chart and I can see it go up or I can see it go down. And then the feedback loop says, oh, no wonder my sales are dropping because I'm not doing that one little activity. I don't need to beat myself up over it. It's just an improvement goal.
Yes. And it's, it's that classic old phrase, right? Anything measured improves, anything measured and reported improves exponentially.
Exactly.
And, again, I'll go back to this detox I was doing. It's related, but I drew 10 little glasses on my one sheet of paper every day because that was what I needed to do, is to have 10 full glasses of water every day. And I got such a high out of ticking those little babies off.
Yeah.
It just feels good. But now I have a record, as you say, of exactly what I did. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And there's this whole movement in the online space too of something called growth hacking.
Is that related to quantified self?
Growth hacking is all about finding little micro changes in the conversion on your page that maybe it's 1% improvement.
Yes.
1% on that page plus 1% on the next page plus 1% on the next page increases to 10% actually overall.
Yes.
And that's what, I'm trying to growth hack performance for professional athletes or growth hack performance for executives or an entire team of people.
Sure.
And it's just micro changes. And the great thing about it, it doesn't scare the limbic part of our brain that's all about fight, flight, freeze, and things like that. We're looking for micro changes. So set improvement goals for ourselves.
Awesome.
Yeah. The fourth one is to gather a tribe around yourself.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. And a tribe can look many different ways.
Sure.
It could be a coach or a mentor. It could be a friend who's already gone through what you're hoping to go through and can be a bit of a coach for you. It can be an online community. That's the great thing about the internet now is there's all these micro niches that are everywhere that have interests that that I'm shocked at sometimes, but they're there to help out. There's tons of helpful people that are there to, gather around you and, cheer you on. And then if you start reporting people your improvement goals and your trigger goals and things like that, you start to end up, people go, wow, you think differently than me. And now you can actually get to that place where we all want to get to. It's a natural part of the human experience, which is to share with other people. That's what the hero's journey is all about, is we go on this journey and then Luke Skywalker comes back with the magical elixir and he can help save other people.
Yeah.
And when we go through and we actually complete the change that we're trying to go on, now we have data, we've got experience, and then we become so much more valuable to the people around us.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about my favorite one, which is script your setbacks. I love this. Tell us what that means.
Exactly. Anytime we're going through change, there's always going to be moments that are going to challenge the change that we're trying to go through.
Yes.
And whether it's breaking bad habits or whether it's trying to start a new skill. Scripting your setbacks is, I also call it the positive power of negative preparation. And scripting setbacks is all about, what am I going to do in the moment when someone says, hey, Todd, do you want some chocolate cake? And if I'm on this health kick that I'm trying to drop this 7 lbs around my waist, then just thinking about that ahead of time. And it's not going to be, because what I probably normally do, it looks really good. Ooh, I don't know.
Right. Maybe I'll just have a bite.
Maybe a bite, exactly. Instead, it's just going to be a definitive, no thanks.
Yes.
And it just greases the slide for us in our own heads. We don't need to think about it. It's just there for us.
I love this.
And scripting your setbacks can happen we can do it in so many parts of our life. So when I'm working with a professional athlete, there's a lot of times where there's tons of trash talk that's going on the field of play.
Sure.
And sometimes people can be going through very sensitive parts of their times in their life.
Yeah.
We need to think that stuff through so that they don't cost their team a penalty, which then costs them the game or something like that. But the same thing happens in business. What are you going to do when the deal that you thought was the sure thing that was going to be closing doesn't happen? What are you going to do?
What are you going to do when you want to put that video out or that blog post or the book proposal and you get rejected or criticized or whatever?
Because it will happen.
Yes.
It will happen.
Yes.
Absolutely it will. And it's, what am I going to feel?
Yeah.
So it's not just the doing part. What am I going to feel as well?
Yeah.
What am I going to see? Who am I going to call?
Yes.
Do I have a support system around me?
Yes.
And make it just like that. Don't think about it. Just do it. that's what the power of doing the trigger goals is as well. Just have my Lululemon pants laying out for me so I don't have to think about it too much.
Right.
Just have them staring me in the face. But scripting your setbacks is exceptionally powerful. Everyone talks about, positive thinking, but really there's a lot more power in actually thinking through, the challenges. Because if we think that life is one big Pollyanna episode, it's just not. And we would talk about it in the context of it's just mental weakness, because I talk about mental toughness so much. Sure. Mental toughness is knowing what to do when things aren't going well.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out today. I know you have a new baby girl in your life.
Yes.
And she is beautiful. I love Molly, and obviously I love your wife, Val. She's amazing too.
Thank you so much.
So I really appreciate you being here with all of us and sharing this incredible knowledge. I feel like people are going to just freak out. I love it. It just helps me out, since we had that conversation years ago. So thank you.
Well, it was awesome.